Well, in that leadership style, and law enforcement, military, to a certain extent here at the college, we have a thing called chain of command. Does the leader, quote, violate the chain of command during those times, especially the initial stages of handling that crisis? Do they just reach out and grab whoever they want or whoever they think is going to be successful in doing that part of the job as opposed to following the chain of command?
I think that's the biggest challenge that you, as a chief or as a senior executive in an organization, to roll out to a scene that's hot and things are going 100 miles an hour, and we're all type A personalities, and you want to put your hand in the mix and you want to say, do this, do that, don't do that, and you've got an incident commander who's already been there before you got there. And I think you have to respect the chain of command in that you're there not to take over the scene unless you truly feel that you have to take over the scene, and then you do what you need to do. But to be respectful of whoever is the incident commander. We have the ICS system, the incident command system, to be respectful of that and the way it works and that it is a process. It's hard to go into something and sit back and watch when you know that something needs to be done quick. But there's a respectful way to do it where you get it done, you continue to develop your people who are in those roles, and you can influence it maybe in a way where it becomes the incident commander's decision and not somebody who came in and imposed it on that. That's a critical piece that is a challenge for all of us because of the types of personality I think that we bring to the table.
I have violated that that very not often, but to give you an example, during September 11th of 2001, I was the head of the FBI office in Chicago, and besides, not really believing what you were seeing on television, within literally seconds, you were in the response mode, and we didn't have the command center up, at that point as we're looking at that. And so I found myself as head of the office grabbing, who was there. As people came into my office looking for, advice and guidance. I mean, obviously the first thing was to get the command center up and going because it wasn't a 24/7 sort of a thing. But yes, I did reach out. I broke that chain of command, and I would grab people and say, you go do this, you go do that, until we got everything going as it structured should be. And we had tested and planned for things like that. So I think, the staff there was very, very good about understanding that, oops, sometimes, you're going to have to answer to the boss without, your intervening supervisory level being aware of that. And then it just sorted itself out over the next couple of hours. But yeah, I did violate that, and I really believed I needed to.
Good. Colleen?
Yeah, I think when there's a need, absolutely, because if it has to do with life and death circumstances or containing a fire in your building or what have you, we're all people, we're all accountable to try to, save life and limb and major property, whatever. I think, though, that if you do have those kinds of, extraordinary circumstances spelled out in your training programs, and if you have them in your policies and procedures, and you train on them regularly, and I really sincerely mean that, that you do train on them regularly, then people it's not unnerving to see a slight variation from what the norm would be. They understand that we're not in a normal situation, and people are prepared to step up. In fact, my experience has been people were standing in line wanting an assignment. What can I do? What can I do? What can I do? And so it's not for lack of personnel to get things done. It's making sure that we're not duplicating effort and making sure that we're covering all the bases. So yes, I think there are occasions where you have to improvise, and thinking about that ahead of time is helpful. Then you're not unnerved by it when it does happen.
If I could, I think everything we talk about here is under the umbrella of good communication. I think if you're going to go in and exercise, your authority to be able to make decisions, that you do that in a way where you communicate to whoever was in the position of authority that you're taking it, you've got it. Because otherwise, the potential of giving duplicate messages, inconsistent messages, or something that's working against the cause of what you're trying to do, that's all very possible. So I think that the ability to be able to realize that communication is what's going to drive the success or failure of an operation, that's a critical piece not to miss.